You were already quiet, so I really didn't need to do that, but I did it for posterity.
That's not a very good excuse.
This meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors is now called into order, first of this new year, and we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. Who is delivering our invocation this morning? Okay. Would you come forward, please, and be recognized? Let's all stand.
I'll be reaching back into history for a classic prayer that was used to open the great council called the Vatican Council over a 4-year period. Every session was opened with this prayer. Here we are, O Lord, Holy Spirit. We stand before you, hampered by our faults, but for a very special purpose, gathered together in your name. Come to us and be with us and enter our hearts. Teach us what we are to do and where we ought to tend. Show us what we must accomplish so that with your help we may be able to please you in all things. May you alone be the beginning and the catalyst of our judgments, who alone with God the Father and his Son possess a glorious name. Do not allow us to disturb the order of justice, you who love equity above all things. Let not ignorance draw us to what is wrong. Let not partiality sway our minds, or respect of riches or persons pervert our judgment. But unite us to you effectually by the gift of your grace alone, that we may be one in you and never forsake the truth. Inasmuch as we are gathered together in your name, so may we in all things hold fast to justice tempered by mercy, so that in this life our judgment may in no way be at variance with you, and in the life to come we may receive an everlasting reward for deeds well done. We ask your mercy, Lord, on those who have died recently in our community, especially those whose names have been listed on the board. May they come into the glory of your presence and rest in peace. Through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. We came into this year recognizing the heroes in our community. And the first group that we recognized was the United States military. And I want to end the year, this past fiscal year, with the recognition of another hero and ask him if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. One of my personal friends and a hero to all of us, served in the military, Mr. Donnie Maxwell. Donnie, would you lead us, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Seated. First of all, I want to thank the hundreds of calls that I received wishing me well in my recent catastrophe. Most of you may not know, or some of you may know, that Wednesday I was in a major automobile accident and was launched from my pickup at 60 miles an hour in the center divide and sustained a severe concussion and bleeding spleen. And I am whole today, as you see me before you, a little sore, a little worse for the wear. I always knew my head was hard, but I didn't know how hard until Wednesday. And I'm grateful for a hard head. And I'm grateful to be alive, because most people who are in that predicament don't live to tell the tale. But I want to thank everyone for your calls, the visits, the support. You never really realize how many friends you have until you need them. And they all show up when you need them. And sometimes you wish they'd go home so you could get a little rest. I'm just kidding. I want to look back at the year just briefly and realize some of the great accomplishments of this county and the people who serve this county. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to read a few things here. This year we balanced a budget for over $230 million that was increased $20 million from the previous fiscal year. We were able to set aside $4 million for future budget issues, closing what was a $12 million deficit a few years ago. Quite an accomplishment. Our outside audit and financial statements were completed on time for the first time in years. We received an A-plus credit rating from Standard & Poor's. We established an annual board management workshop where goals were set and the pace and direction of our future was determined. We were recognized by NACO for our budget prowess. We implemented a study, a compensation study countywide. We completed the study, and we plan to implement that full study. New standardized MOUs were developed with all 13 bargaining units. We consolidated our community development and public works into the government center, saving millions of dollars. Completed our new sheriff's headquarters. Augmented all of our law enforcement tools and helped them to be better equipped to serve this community and do their job safely and effectively. We completed an $11 million energy savings project with major solar components, saving millions of dollars. I could say that over and over again. We've saved millions of dollars. That's a good thing to say for government. We continue to reduce our development and impact fees. We completed ADA upgrades in the main library with a grant. We now are in the process of purchasing Black Hawk Ranch, 950 acres. It's in escrow. We received a letter recommending a $2.1 million purchase grant for the OHV Park, which is a big deal. That's a lot of money coming into Madera County. Part of our sports tourism plan. Speaking of sports tourism, we had a sports complex study, and the study recommended a 45-acre complex with tournament amenities. Madera County will soon be the sports center of California. It's going to be great. We've been addressing our water issues. The county formed a JPA within the county and other water agencies to comply with the state's Groundwater Management Act. We were instrumental in helping form the 5-county JPA for the state's Proposition 1 water project bond funding, which includes Temperance Flat Dam. A major issue for our region, water storage, is about to be addressed. We cleaned miles and miles of flood channels. If you go out and look at Ash and Berenda Sloughs and Fresno River, they're cleaner than they've been in 30 years. And it's a real blessing to our community to know that if the floodwaters come, they have a place to go. And it means perennial groundwater recharge for our community, something badly needed. Madera County, during this last year, was ranked #1 in the United States for manufacturing jobs, newgeography.com. Madera County ranked #1 in the United States on Forbes' list of America's strongest farming and agribusiness regions. #1 in the U.S. That means #1 in the world, because we're the best in the world. Madera County ranked #49 on Forbes' list of best places to do business, best places for business and careers, job growth. Some of the projects underway in the county are the Starbucks Aromac Coffee and Snack Kiosk, which we will be hopefully locating in the entry of our facility here. A different way of doing business. Open government financial transparency tools are being developed. We're upgrading the countywide financial system. We have new health and social services buildings that are in the bid process right now. Our county monument signs that will be developed at every entry point. We're not only on the map, we're going to be seen on the map. And when they come into our county, they'll know they're in Madera County. We've continued to stimulate economic development in a great way. I just want to say that we have become one of the strongest leading counties in the state of California. Out of 58 counties, we are one of the top-ranked counties in many categories. Little Madera County, yet mighty in its prowess, mighty in its ability. You did that. You did that. We as a team did that. We established people as our top priority. Our motto was people serving people to build a better way of life. And we mean it. We believe people are important. They're number one. We're in the people business. We've become a better team. And I want to say to you, we've had a lot of coaching sessions on Tuesday morning with the chairman's comments. We had that Tuesday morning coaching session, and in those coaching sessions, I mentioned the thought of doing more than is required of you. And if you remembered what I said about that, if I ever come to you and say, you're doing a great job, it means you're doing more than is required of you. Well, let me say to you this morning, team, you're doing a great job, and I'm proud of you. I've written something that I wouldn't ordinarily share with you. I'm kind of a closet poet, but I'm going to share with you this morning. I'm just going to step out on my little pedestal here because I can. And I title this My Home, so bear with me.
For a little while.
A place of spaces wide, room to breathe, grow, and thrive, plush with forests and profuse with friend afoot. How grand are your craggy mountains, whose white crown, like that of a loving grandfather, glistens in the sun, waiting for a season to impart blessings upon his children below. My eyes gaze with pleasure upon your grassy knolls, dotted with those imposing guardians, whose mighty boughs spread to decorate the skyline. Your gifts are bountiful, and you do not withhold, granting life to many souls. You have set a banquet before me from tree and vine, sweet to my lips and plenty. I love your fertile fields and wetlands' grace, where wayfarer take wing to sprinkle the heavens like angels in a blue sky. Your gallery, a window into majestic splendor, my soul will delight to dwell in your house and find pleasant company with those who call you friend. Let me close with this thought. A leader is neither God nor genius, just a servant. And I hope that I've served you well. Thank you. Thank you for that. On to business. Lost my agenda here. There we go. If it weren't for my eyes, I wouldn't be able to see here. Okay. At this time, we're going to go into the reorganization of the board, and nominations would be open for your chair.
I move that we appoint Rick Farinelli, the chairman, for 2016.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion to that motion? Any comment from the public? Hearing none, bring it back to the board. Roll call vote, please. Okay, motion is made.
Second.
We have two motions now. We will address the first one first. And is there any comment from the public on the second motion? First motion.
Call for the vote on the first motion. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Farinelli? Yes. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
You almost said no.
5-0 vote. Oh, Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Max, that's all right.
Supervisor Rodriguez? 5-0 vote.
Here.
Okay.
Call for the vote for the second motion. Supervisor Rodriguez? Yes. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Farinelli?
The second time, yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes. You
5-0
were voted
vote.
on twice, so you received the gavel, sir. Do that again.
My first act as chair.
He wants to do that again.
First, okay. Smile right. He's kind of got a half frown, half smile.
I'm surprised I hadn't pulled this away from him. Hey, thank you. Well, my first act as chair is basically giving this plaque to David Rogers for an outstanding year. I've said it several times this past year. This board has been outstanding. As you heard what David talked about, that's not just a 1-year plan, a 2-year plan, or a 3-year plan, but several supervisor boards before us. And we have just had the opportunity, basically, to bring us out of the 2007 economy. And I think this board has just absolutely done an outstanding job of looking every avenue what's going on in Madera County. And Dave was a great leader last year in 2015, so I'd like to honor him with this plaque. Dave, thank you so much.
I've never had to hold one of these microphones. When you do, you feel like Bob Barker with that long little.
You kind of look like him,
Yeah.
so there's no problem.
Remember to spay and neuter your pets, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to lose it.
Okay. First thing in business, I would like to have nominations for the pro temp, and I would like to do that, honor myself, and I'd like to honor Max Rodriguez as the pro temp of 2016.
I'll second that.
Can we have the vote, please?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Farinelli?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez? Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
And Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
5-0 vote.
Hey, did you guys, is that okay if he's vice chair?
Is it okay, Chair? Any public comment on that? Okay. See if I can get organized here. Okay, reorganized, yeah, a little bit. First, before I make a little comment here, and what I'm looking forward to in 2016, I would like to have all the elected officials stand up in the audience that's here today, please, and ex-elected officials. John,
You too, John.
that's you too, John. These are the people in your community that you have voted on, even though a lot of us are government workers here and everything else. But I'll tell you, without these folks, this last year would have been, I don't think it would have turned out as good. Todd Miller has done an outstanding job on the audits and bringing us up. Jay Varney has brought us to another level, I feel, of administration. John Anderson is like that old past board that basically he brought us to this point in the Sheriff's Department. Gary Savana, my good friend, has just absolutely reinvented his position up there, and just outstanding. Bobby Kahn, now that he's on the school board, not the school board, but the state college board, has really put into effect the trades and everything for our community. I think it's outstanding. Donald Hawley has been an outstanding city council and basically a heck of a mentor for kids. Sally Von Pressey just retired from city council. Outstanding job as a city council person and fought all the way, I want to say, for different issues. And I really appreciate Will Oliver, the new city council, coming today. And I think the new city council is absolutely going to be outstanding and working together with the county. And I want to thank all of you guys for coming. Thank you. The next group I'd like to recognize is all of our heads of staffs. Would you please stand up? Three years ago, please remain standing. 3 years ago, some of these people were not in the audience. And I think with this new board and recreating positions and looking for the betterment of Madera County, we have the best staff, heads of staff, that any county has in California. And Dave said it right. We are number one in the county. Both of us serve on RCRC. We all serve on CSAC. We go to these conventions. Madera is a shining star, and I want to thank you guys for making us that shining star. Thank you. I would like to thank my fellow supervisors for honoring me today as serving as their chair for 2016. I am very humbled by the responsibility you have bestowed on me. In this 123rd year of Madera County, the challenges are facing the community. I think 2016 will either make us or break us. 2016, we're going to have to look at every little item that we have. I think the country it's just not Madera County, but the country is the same way, all the way down from our Washington, D.C. to Sacramento to the counties to the city level. Have to really be focused on what's going on in 2016. I was going to read this, and I'm not really going to go through all this, but I just want to thank this board for giving me the opportunity to be the chairman of 2016. All of us don't agree with each other all the time, but I would say 90% of the time we do agree with each other. I think the communication between this board has basically gotten a lot better over the years. I think that you're going to be proud of us in 2016 and beyond. So in that honor, I would like to follow up with the Year of the Hero. With lesser acknowledged heroes, the taxpayer. In 2016, I would like to recognize those who keep the lights on and pay for our bills. Therefore, I would like to declare 2016 the Year of the Taxpayer. And throughout the year, we'll seek opportunities to recognize those who bear the burden of paying for not only their local government, but state and fed as well. I want to, again, thank you all, and may we all have an eventful year. I really feel that 2016 is going to be a memorable year. And one more thing, I would love to have all my family members. I know my mom can't stand up, but you want history of Madera County, you have 6 generations sitting here of Madera County. Wow. My grandkids, my son, Jan, stand up, please. Family, stand up. Just everybody, so Jan doesn't have to stand by herself. Hey, Sam and Sharon, stand up, please. Sam, Sharon, stand up. You're our family, too. And this is just a few of them. Some of them actually had to work and pay for the taxes that I'm talking about. So anyway, I just really appreciate their coming. But we have 6 generations. My wonderful sister-in-law, Patty Farnelli, she's basically the head of the Catholic Church. Father John. But anyway, I mean, what an organization. I told Tom this morning, it's really emotional for me, but I've been going over my mom's pictures at her house, and me and Jan spent 12 hours that's all we've done. We haven't done any government stuff, sorry, but we have worked really hard on family stuff, and it's so thrilling to see how far back our generations go in America.
How old is your mom?
My mom is 95 years young. So. Anyway, so what I'd like to do is break up for a little bit and go have some cake and cookies and whatever Robert's got us back there, and talk about a staff, head of staff. Robert Jeffers, please stand up.
Yeah, that was a good point.
This is the man. Thank you. Let's break for some refreshments. First. call this meeting back to order, please? Okay, Tom? Yep. Okay. As you noticed, we reorganized, and the reason that we did, because I'm a one confused guy, because this thing has been up here on the screen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all this time, and we've moved each other around, so I thought it would be enjoyable to put 3 in the center and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's
So,
okay.
anyway.
Our excuse. We'll
Yeah,
let you get by with it.
you get to badger Rhonda all the time. I can help it. Okay. Is there any additions to the agenda, staff?
There are no additions to the agenda.
Okay. Then okay, so there's no public because there's no addition. Okay, let's go to closed session then. Adjourn to closed session till 10:30.
Chairman, would you like the council
And
to...
is there any comment on the closed session items? And would you please read the closed session items into?
Yes. Conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. County negotiators are Adrian Caleb and Ken Kays. Employee organization are all units. Public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. The title of the position is County Administrative Officer. Real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. The negotiating party is Eric Fleming, County Administrative Officer, and the assessor's parcel numbers are 049-085-022, 049-085-017, and 049-85003. We have existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D1. There are 3 cases. City of Chowchilla versus the County of Madera, the County of Madera versus Madera Disposal Systems Incorporated, Ian Roth versus the Madera County Sheriff's Department. The 2 last items are public employee appointment, employment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. The title of the positions are the Director of Child Support Services and the County Librarian.
Okay, I'll ask once more. Is there any public comment on any of the closed session items? So be it. Back to the board. Let's go to closed session. Thank you. Back in session, please. County Council, anything from closed session?
There are no reportable actions.
Good. Okay. We'll go back into closed session later on this afternoon and finish that up. Okay. What do we got? We got proclamations. This is last month.
Consent calendar, then the public comment.
Yeah. You know, I lost the. Do you have a green one, Tom? I don't have a green one. This is last month.
You got another agenda?
Got to adjust here for a minute, Joe. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Okay, consent calendar? Anybody have any questions on consent calendar?
Whoop, you ain't changed my name yet. It says Brett Frazier up here.
Brett Frazier. Uh-oh, they haven't changed the
You
names,
look
Robert.
good, Brett.
Okay, Brett.
Mike
go
and
ahead.
Jay.
Go ahead,
we're
Brett.
busy. Okay, item E, it's the 22A, the new members. I just want to thank Andrew Pence and Bob not McCaffrey, McCullough. They're young guys. We're finally getting some young people to get on some of these committees that the old farts need to get off. So it's nice having some young ones step up to the plate. Items O, like an O man. What kind of stores and businesses do organic recycling? I couldn't find that in there. Ahmad, so
Ahmad, could you bring it up?
is it grocery stores? Is it restaurants?
Good morning, members of the board, Mr. Chairman. Ahmad Al-Qiyat with Public Works. Any business that creates more than 8 cubic yards of waste.
It says organic waste, though.
Correct, organic waste. This is the purpose of this resolution is just our intent. We're just telling or informing Cal Recycle that we intend to comply with the bill.
Okay.
And it basically targets first those who generate 8 cubic yards of organic waste, and then is going down to 4 later on. Restaurants, I would say,
Grocery store?
of course, yes, possible.
Okay.
And this all will be in the study. So we're going to create a program that everybody will be involved, especially our franchises too.
Okay.
This is the intent.
Thank you.
That's the intent to comply. Yes.
Then item G, the posse or the rodeo, whichever one it is. It says we're 2 versions behind, and that 81,000 is going to pay for one of them. What does it cost for the other one?
Well, that's a good point. Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. Norman Allender, Planning Director. This is something been in the works for a while, and we've been working with IT as well as administration. This recent thing will continue, give us a platform and to continue where we are and have more storage. To go to the next level, which is what we would call a web-based version, which is really what we're excited about getting going, we've had estimates of up to $200,000 to $300,000 to $400,000 depending on the options. Because of that, we've worked with IT, with Tanya, and with Bruce. We intend to go out to do a competitive bid to make sure we're buying. In other words, before we spend so much money upgrading Posse, this is a basic, a needed update, but we are going to go out and competitively look at a web-based version and make sure that Posse is what we like Posse. I can tell you Becky loves Posse, but we want to make sure we're spending taxpayers' dollars correctly. Thank you.
Well, it's really important to me because when I got elected, they had that posse riding around down there, and then nobody used it. We spent $2 or $3 million buying it, and it sat there for 5 years, and absolutely no use. So I just want to thank you guys for making it work because it makes it so much easier for the public, too, when they want to look at their projects and updating it. That's whatever it takes we got to do. Let's get it done. So thank you. That's all I have on those.
Any more questions?
Chair. Max has got his up there.
No, it's David.
It's David.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we got to get this.
Actually, the question was answered for me, so I'll defer.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any questions from the public? Bring it back to the board.
I move we approve the consent calendar as given.
Second.
Okay, Tom approved. Dave second. Vote, please.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Farinelli?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay, public comment. Would you please read that into the record?
The first 15 minutes of each regular session is set aside for members of the public to comment on any item within the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. Items presented under public comment may not be discussed or acted upon by the board at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public is invited to comment at the time the item is called for consideration by the board. Any person addressing the board under public comment will be limited to a 3-minute presentation to ensure that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak. Also, all persons addressing the board must state their name and county of residence for record.
Tracy?
Hi, good morning, new chairman and board of supervisors. Tracy Kennedy Desmond, treasure tax collector, your treasure tax collector. What I came to talk to you today about was our collections. Our collections for December 10th, all in, all posted. And I have a cute little handout, I don't know how it goes up onto your screen, or maybe you see it. But what I try to do is break it down. And so I break it down on who paid what.
Wrong one.
And, well, you know, it's New Year. And how many payments we got in credit card, how much walk-in traffic. I think it's real important to illustrate the number of walk-in taxpayers that we get and the amount that we get. There it is. That came into the office. We had over 3,500 transactions in that short of a time. $11 million was collected over the counter. Okay, so that's a lot. When you consider they parked and they walked up and then they stood in line or they dropped their payment, that's a lot. And I really have to give a shout out to my staff, Cecilia, Caroline, Jimena, Anthony, Cynthia, Laura, Dawn, Gina, Melanie, and Dan Garcia for all of their efforts, because it is really a combined effort to get through that kind of workload in that short of a period. The other item that is to note is the credit cards. Last year, at this time, we had about 855 credit card transactions. This year, it is over 1,300. So it's gone up about almost 500 transactions in the last year.
Don't
Now,
the customers pay more for that in the end because they pay a percentage? What is it, 3.5?
yeah, it's 2.2 or something. We kind of negotiated the rate down.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. And of course, we tell them it's a convenience. They don't have to pay like that. They can come in or mail it. So there's a convenience fee that's tacked on. Now, the nice thing about the credit cards this year and was last year is we started a new software program where if you pay by credit card, it automatically posts it in real time to your account. It posts it in real time, and it also it produces a register for the end of the day for reconciling. That's the best $3,000 we ever spent because it will post it and produce a register. So that is part of it. Now, of course, this year, the new and improved system was our image cash letter that I think I've talked to you about, where the checks come in and we post them through the remittance processor, and then we take the file electronically and upload it to the bank. It's not been perfect. It's had a lot of bugs. And, in fact, Cindy Jones has been working on an upgrade for about 2 weeks now for this electronic. But we had to do it. We had to do it. It was a banking regulation, so we had to do it. And oddly enough, it seems to have lessened the amount of non-sufficient fund checks. So we had a very small portion of non-sufficient fund checks this year. So I was very happy with that. Now, also, I need to give a shout-out to Gary Savanda and his staff. Gary lent me a couple of people, which was very helpful in processing the mail, opening it, and sorting it. And what's great about them is that they were familiar with the megabyte property tax system, so they could even answer some questions and help on the phone. So that was really appreciated by Gary. Another thing that we did and we used to do was that they suspended processing roll order changes. Roll order changes are if there's been a change to your assessed value, the assessor might process a roll change and your assessed value goes up, a new tax bill is created, and between the time we send it out and we're trying to process it, a new tax bill is created, we don't know about it, and it throws out the payment, which causes a lot of extra handling on our end. So they were gracious enough to suspend processing board order changes until after we had reconciled and balanced, which is great. It was very helpful because it eliminates one extra handling thing. Also, I need to state a shout out to Doug Malikian, the guard. he was stationed in our office the entire last week of collections, which is good because we have a lot of traffic, and when people are paying their taxes, they're not necessarily happy. So, so it was nice to have Doug in there and some backup, and every year we have somebody that's posted right there in the office. Anyway, that's my update. I sent something to the newspaper telling them how much we collected overall. It was $82 million. And anyway, Happy New Year. Any questions?
I just thank you to the staff, for making the systems work now. I mean, work better and continue to work on the systems to make them work faster and more efficient. I really want to thank the other departments for working together with you and try to get this all solved in a matter of that period of time. That's pretty fast. So,
I know. It
thanks,
was
Tracy.
very impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Any other public? If there's anybody else, please get in line over here on the left.
Happy New Year.
Name and address?
August 4th, my daughter-in-law encountered a dog out along the roadway, and she took him in, tried to find the owners, couldn't find the owner. They tried to deal with it. It was a big-sized dog, something that I knew they weren't going to be able to handle in a little house in town. I finally ended up taking this dog out to my place, and she became a very big part of our family. Well, what I didn't know was that about 11 weeks later, she had been impregnated. So we ended up with her having 10 puppies. And
Welcome, Grandpa.
Of course, the puppies came into the world right there in our place. I reached out to the people from the animal veterinary place that I deal with. I reached out to Christian out at the animal control, and I was met with nothing but great comfort in the fact that they were very open and willing to work with me and help me. Make a long story short, the little puppies, we lost one to a heart defect that I really had a hard time putting him down. The mother had to be put down also because she actually went after some of the puppies, and so we had to put her down. And again, all these dealings were handled through the veterinary centers, through the animal control people, and every time I reached out to these people, I have a lot of admiration for them because they were right there ready to work with me. I ended up taking 8 puppies in and having them fixed with that program that you had in place. And let me tell you, it was a great deal for me because I would have ended up doing it anyway because that's just the type of person I am. But the fact that they had this program and it didn't cost me anything. And every time I took animals down there and they took them in and they brought them back to me, it was nothing but reassurance that they were going to be there for me. You know, I've heard criticism about your animal control shelter and so forth, but for me, their part in this county has been nothing but admiration. They have served the county. I know that sometimes you go in there and you expect them to jump up right away and take care of you, but, you know, I work for the county. I know what it's like to have people want things done right now, but you can't do it. And, you know, when you work for the county, you know, everybody says you serve the public, you got to be happy-faced, so forward, and that's what I did, and that's what these people did for me, you know. And I know there was times that I was in there sometimes when people would say, well, you know, I was next, or when are you going to take care of me, whatever. I'm retired. I took my time. I didn't have any rush.
Okay.
and they were there for me. And I really
Thank you, buddy.
want to thank you guys. I want to thank the county.
It's a
for
great New Year's story.
Yes, it is.
And I think the board basically agrees with you that we probably have one of the best animal shelters and animal staff
You do.
in the county and in
You
the
do.
state. So I really appreciate the story. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and congratulations.
And thank you for spaying and neutering those puppies.
Yeah. Let's have some puppies if you want to. What kind?
Yeah, he got a new kid, he needs a puppy.
Hey,
No.
Joseph.
Morning, Joseph. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year to you too, Tom. Good morning, just Juan, Madera County. First and foremost, Rick, congratulations. David, thank you so very much for your excellent work.
Thank you.
I just wanted to come by and say 2016 is going to be an interesting one. And as always, I'll be watching.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph. Anybody else from the public? Bring it back to the board. No comments? Public comments? Okay. Number 8, please. 8A.
Board-
Would you read that into?
The proclamation proclaiming January 2016 as the National Mentoring Month in Madera County. National Mentoring Month provides an opportunity to recognize and commend the efforts of mentoring programs and partnerships and to raise community awareness of the importance of mentoring. And whereas the future of Madera County rests on the positive development of its children and youth, and whereas mentors are caring and motivating individuals who are good listeners, offering support and encouragement, and provide a consistent role model, and whereas young people greatly benefit from mentors who can encourage self-confidence and positive attitudes, inspire them in their educational endeavors, educate them of the importance of healthy relationships with their friends and families, and counsel them on the challenges of drug and alcohol abuse. And whereas Madera County commends Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central California, which has made significant contributions to our community by offering outstanding services to youth in the county. And whereas Madera County also recognizes and commends all the mentors of our community for their invaluable contributions to our youth and for making a difference in their lives. And whereas National Mentoring Month increases public awareness of the need for volunteer mentors and offers recognition and gratitude to the countless men and women who donate their time as mentors throughout the United States. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Madera, State of California, does hereby proclaim January 2016 as National Mentoring Month.
Is there anybody from the public would like to speak on this? Come on, Dan.
Good morning, Diane.
Good morning, everybody. Diane Paconacum, Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sister in all 5 counties. First and foremost, from the bottom of my heart, and Big Brothers Big Sister and the Board of Big Brothers Big Sister, thank you. Thank you for this wonderful honor and recognition. I do want to thank a lot of people in Madera. Madera, when I started in 2011, we only had a part-time employee. Madera was very small compared to the 4 other counties that we serve. And now having Rick be on our board opened up tremendous door, and now we have 3 full-time employees serving 8 school partnership with our High School Bigs program and serving over 200 kids. I want to personally thank Madera County Probation for their support, Madera Department of Social Services, appreciate you guys, CCP, JBT Food Tech, PG&E, AT&T, Madera Unified School District, True Value, the Bryant family, and Madera Rotary. Without all these supporters, we could not do what we do. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Mentoring is so important. This is our chance to be there for a child that really needs someone positive in their life. So think about who was there for you. You could be that one person to make a difference in these children's lives. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane. Any more from the public? If not, I'd like to have a motion on this proclamation.
Move to approve.
Second.
Brett
Matt
moves to
second.
approve. Matt, second.
Yep.
Could I have a vote?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
President?
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Farinelli?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Can we go down and take a picture real quick? Okay, item 8B, please.
Community Action Partnership of Madera County proclamation proclaiming January 2016 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month and call on the vigilance of all our citizens of Madera County. Whereas human trafficking is a form of modern-day slavery in which victims are forced to work in various forms of labor exploitation, including but not limited to commercial sex acts and other services that are induced through force, fraud, coercion, and whereas, due to its isolating nature, many individuals locally and across the globe are unaware that trafficking exists in their neighborhoods, and whereas it is estimated that more than 20 million men, women, and children around the world are victims of human trafficking, and whereas increased education about how to identify human trafficking, along with increased knowledge of an in-state resources and services for those affected by these criminal actions can help decrease the number of future victims, and whereas Madera County is committed to creating legal frameworks for investigating human trafficking and prosecuting those engaged in it. The following agencies are on the task force for Madera County: Madera County Probation, Madera County Department of Social Services, Madera Police Department, Madera County Sheriff's Department, Madera County Behavioral Health, Chowchilla Police Department, Madera County Public Health, Community Action Partnership of Madera County, Madera County District Attorney's Office, Valley Children's Hospital, and Forensic Nurse Specialist of Central California. And whereas Human Trafficking Awareness Month is an opportunity to recognize the critical role of all Maderans playing in preventing, reporting, and adjudicating these heinous crimes. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Madera, State of California, does hereby proclaim the month of January 2016 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month and call on the vigilance of all of our citizens.
I know we don't have anybody from this department to speak, right? Oh, Maddie, please. And
Good
Tina.
morning, Mr. Chair, Board of Supervisors, Maddie Mendez, Community Action Partnership. With me today is Tina Rodriguez. She is the Program Manager for our Victim Services Department and one of the experts in our county regarding this topic. She will be providing training in the near future to law enforcement and many of us in the community. But she's here today to speak on this, and I want to thank you for this proclamation.
Good morning, Board. I'm Tina Rodriguez, Program Manager for the Victim Services Center here underneath Community Action Partnership of Madera County. This January we're going to have a series of events in honor of Human Trafficking Awareness Month. As you know, we are a nationally accredited center here in Madera County, so we're far beyond the minimal standards and what's required of us legally. I can assure you that we are applying best practices as required of us, and we have many discussions regarding how we're going to respond to the various victim-related issues that we encounter in Madera County. Key to us being a center of excellence is our partnership with our community partners, specifically law enforcement and especially the Department of Social Services. As every law is passed, I have multiple discussions with the staff at the Department of Social Services, and we always collaborate on how we're going to update our child forensic interview team. And also we put into writing all of our practices, and our protocol is updated to comply with all of the new laws. And of course, your support helps us maintain that. This month, we have the Department of Social Services will be hosting 3 events in the community. The first one will be on January 12th at Valley West Christian Center from 6 to 8. Dinner will be served, and that one is going to be titled In Plain Sight, and it's going to feature a series of survivors. January 19th, there'll be a keynote speaker, Carissa Phelps, who's a survivor and also an author and has her roots here in the Central Valley. And she'll be speaking along with an attorney and an advocate on the 19th. February 1st will be a panel discussion in which Community Action will be participating and being a part of. And all 3 events will take place from 6 to 8. January 22nd is our Community Action Partnership will be hosting training for it says for law enforcement, it's for anybody that works in the field, but it specifically meets the training mandate, the minimal requirement for law enforcement on trafficking. It has reached capacity. We have 50 participants registered, and we have started a wait list for anybody that may need to cancel last minute. It'll be on January 22nd, and fortunately, the sheriff was kind enough to let us use his new facility for that. On February, our sheriff is also a lead expert in the field of, or in the area of human trafficking, and he is on the commission for HEAT. which stands for the human, it's a human, I'm reading it here. Sorry, it's all over the place. But it's a trafficking committee as well with leaders among the Central Valley and also statewide. Nancy O'Malley, the district attorney for Alameda County, is head of that, and our sheriff is also on that commission. And their big event will be on the 25th of February. So those are the events that will take place locally over the course of January and February. My emphasis and focus will be really on updating professionals on understanding the multiple faces of trafficking, and specifically how it's presented itself here in Madera County, along with the various diverse backgrounds. Some of it has been with undocumented survivors as well as those that come from foster care.
Tina, is the one speaker, isn't she the one that authored The Runaway Girl?
That's correct.
Yeah. I advise everybody to get that book. I actually bought that for all my daughter-in-laws and daughter for their family. It's an excellent book of a true story by the author and by the speaker. So Runaway Girl is a very, very good. You can't put it down once you start reading it. So anyway, thank you so much. Anybody else? Any comments from the board?
It's a great program.
I just, I've been with you guys for 3 years now on all this stuff, and it's amazing what you have to put up with and what you go through. And it's the bottom of my heart. I appreciate everything that your department and Maddie, your organization, and social services, and behavioral health, and the sheriff department goes through on these cases and stuff. It's absolutely amazing organization. Just a couple of weeks ago, the sheriff and the DA and I met after CSAC, and we're working on something to help on the sex trafficking in Madera County. So we'll let you know. We'll bring you in on it. We would love to, and see where we go from there. So thank you. I'd like to take anybody. Brett, anybody?
Rick? Let me ask you this. I know it's a great problem nationwide, but how serious is it here in Madera County? Could you kind of elaborate on the seriousness here?
I sure can. Where we're at here in Madera County is understanding how to interpret and define it. So as far as numbers, I can't give you accurate numbers because we've discovered that we've been interpreting it different. And that's why I'm placing a focus this year on really looking at the many faces in which it presents itself, because I was having a discussion with Danny earlier. We've had incidences in the last fiscal year, for example, where we have had undocumented survivors that have come here from other countries and are forced into what would be both labor exploitation and sexual slavery. And they're both under the definition of human trafficking. But when an arrest is made, it can be classified differently. So ultimately, how it gets categorized affects numbers. And then we're also looking closer at really putting an emphasis on training foster care and biological families and understanding how it impacts the youth and also how they're being recruited, and really working with the school district here locally to understand how to prevent that.
That's a good question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's take a picture.
before everybody goes, you notice we got a new board clerk, how good she's doing, Rhonda? Give her a big hand, boy.
Okay, I missed one thing. I need to have a motion on the proclamation.
I move we approve the proclamation for the Action Partnership of Madera County.
Oh, second. Okay, we have a first from Tom, second from Brett. Roll call.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Farinelli?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Absent. Vote 4-0.
He voted.
Okay.
Is that really how you hear back?
Does anybody have?
Anybody have one?
It's full of Fresno County, Fresno City one, you know. They can vote.
Real quick. Does anybody have?
We're in the bathroom, you know.
Real quick. Does anybody have anything lunch at 11:30, or can you?
I
wait?
do, yes.
Okay. Okay. We'll take this one, and then
I put it
we'll
off
recess for
3 times.
Okay. 8C, please.
8C, Behavioral Health Services Department, presentation and consideration of approval of a resolution joining the national campaign, Stepping Up to Reduce the Number of People in Jail with Mental Illnesses.
Mr. Dennis.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted me to speak for it. Dennis Cook, Department of Behavioral Health Services. This resolution is at the national level. National Association of Counties has, in the last year, has started this initiative of stepping up. A number of counties now have joined on to it by passing resolutions. This is Madera's chance to join on to that. It's getting a lot of energy at the national level. We are a little bit ahead of them, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that program. But one thing it allows us, by adopting this resolution today, it allows us to attend a training back in Washington, D.C., and then NACO would actually fund for us to send about 5 members. One of those members could be a county executive officer or a chair of the Board of Supervisors. So I'm just putting that plug out there if anyone wants to attend that with a group. And we'll probably send 4 or 5, maybe through the Sheriff's Department, Probation, Behavioral Health, District Attorney's Office. We're meeting on Monday and to start figuring out who those representatives would be. So I'll just put that plug out there. And so then what I'm going to do is talk about what we're doing here in Madera County. As you know, about 6 months ago, and I have a PowerPoint presentation. I see it here, and I don't know if I need to cue up something. Yeah. A number of months ago, we brought to the board here to apply for a statewide grant called Majorca, Mentally Ill Offender and Crime Reduction. That is how we can help clients that, to stay out of jail, those clients that have mental illness. And so I'm going to kind of just talk. I have about 6 or 7 slides. It's going to go pretty quickly here, and if you have any questions. Some of these things you have heard, and then I'm going to show some numbers at the end, what the costs were, and where we're at today. This program actually, over the last 4 or 5 months, we received the grant. We started getting contracts with Madera Rescue Mission, some residential drug treatment programs in Fresno, hired a half-time probation staff, or at least transferred that staff over there for the grant, and we've put it all together. And actually, in the last month, or maybe about 45 days, 60 days, we have all the pieces in place, and clients are actually now starting to flow through our system. Let me see if I hit it correctly. Okay, so just to understand about this project history, even though NACO has taken this on, we have kind of, they were not pushing us as much as we started doing it here within our community, looking at things. And some of that started with Judge Blake over at the court, when him and myself started talking about formulating a behavioral health court. He has recognized that the clients that come to his court that have mental illness present a challenge for the court, for the client, for our judicial system, so wanted to do something different. So we started meeting, and a group of us went to Fresno and looked at how they run a behavioral health court, and over the last number of months, he implemented that. We kind of implemented it on the fly, and we're learning as we go, and we're gradually having clients that go through there. After many months, and then after that, so we started the behavioral health court, and then we started looking at how we can help clients and meeting with clients that are mentally ill in the jail, and out came a grant which we applied for. And the grant, one of the number one things they looked at, the counties, to fund the grant, is you have a collaborative partnership among many departments within the county. And so what we did is we asked for a meeting, and at the very first meeting, this shows a makeup of the committee who attended. It was a little, it should not have been, but I think it was a little bit surprising that we had so many people, department head levels, that were there at our first meeting. We had 2 chief of police, the sheriff was there, Superior Court judge. We had 3 directors of departments, executive directors of community-based organization, all talking about how we can help clients not to recidivize back into the jail. So next what we looked at is the current jail population, about 412. This was back on 9/28. Oh, and just so you know, then NACO actually recognized our county there was 4 counties they picked throughout the nation to present what they're doing. Since we kind of had a little bit of a leg up, we were doing something. We are one. We presented a long version of this PowerPoint presentation. It was on a web base, and there was a little over 1,000 people on that. I was actually the presenter on that. And you can see the numbers clicking on, how many people were coming onto it. It was a little nervy. Even though I was in my office, it felt like it was just myself. And then we got a number of emails and calls. What are you doing? How are you doing it? Because in some counties, in some states, they don't know what a behavioral health court is. I don't think they work as well as we do. They said, okay, we saw all the people that came to your first meeting. How did that happen? I said, well, they serve lunch at the jail, and they serve a good lunch. I see Chief Perez, he had to leave. So I didn't know how to respond to that because I only know of 2 counties. My former county, which it would have never happened, in this county where it seems routine. So that was a tough question to answer. So now if we look at this, that's why it's back on September 28th, that at that time we knew that 12% of the population were clients that had a diagnosable severe mental illness. Okay, others had other mental illness that weren't severe, or maybe we haven't diagnosed it so much. But now let's look at those clients. And what we came up with this phrase, that some of the clients that have mental illness are doing life sentence on the installment plan. That is, they go in for 3 months, they get out for 2 weeks. Another crime, in for 3 months, out for 2 weeks. We had some people that had been there 6, 7, 8 years, that very seldom they're out. And what happens a lot of times to the clients that are mentally ill, that they push away those loved ones, they push away their supports, and they don't recognize it as someone trying to support them and help them. Because of their mental illness, they don't put the pieces together so well, so they lose that support, and a lot of times the crimes are, whether it's vagrancy or stealing or whatever happens to get them back in jail. But if we look at 51 individuals that were rearrested, first of all, so we looked at 111 clients that were released from custody between May and December. 51 of them were rearrested. 22 were rearrested within 1 month. 17 were rearrested within 30 to 60 days. 12 were rearrested in 6 months. And of those 51 that were rearrested, that counted for 621 bookings. Without clients that have mental illness, and a lot of them are using alcohol and drugs, that has taken up a significant amount of our resources. Arresting, adjudicating through the criminal justice system, getting in the jail, going to the emergency room, child protective service, all the different systems here that we're recognizing. And if we can make a dent on a few of those, imagine just those 51 clients, we would reduce 621 bookings in a very short period of time we're talking about.
That's crazy.
What's that?
That is amazing.
It is. And some of the numbers I didn't show, because the other was kind of expansive, to even look at it even clearer, how a few individuals, really, it's a lot. We have people that, again, have spent almost 8 years in local custody here, 3 months at a time.
I like your doing life on
someone else came up. I didn't come up with that. Someone else did. But it's the truth at the jail. And if you ask the people that work at the jail, and again, sometimes these people can be difficult. They know these people, and trying to get them. And so we started meeting. We started talking. What can we do? First, and we identified 3 kind of basics, and you're going to see it gets very simple what we're trying to do. It's difficult, but it's simple what we're trying to do. That we noticed they did not have access to stable housing. They were being released, and they're back on the street, and things are happening. They didn't have access or funding for psychotropic medication, and that is they have a prescription when they get out of jail, but somewhere between getting out of jail and getting to that pharmacy to get that medication that quells some of the voices, that stabilizes
They get
them.
lost.
They get lost. They get back in their neighborhood. They're back using drugs. Whatever's happening, they don't get there. They don't get on their Medi-Cal. They can't get, problems just happen there. And then they have a lack of intensive probation supervision and behavioral health services. We can't get them engaged in either one of these. So we tackled those three. This goes on about our target population. I'll kind of just briefly. Male, females, this was really important with NACO, what we were talking about. Those people that are going to be released into our community, that's basically what we're talking about here. And we're looking at, hopefully we would serve 70 a year. Not hundreds, measured in dozens, and we'll see what their numbers are. Three components. How are we going to engage the client while they're in the jail? How we're going to take them by the arm or maybe by the neck the day they get out of jail, waiting for them when they get out of jail, that we take them here. We're going to take you to get your medicine. We're going to take you to and get into the mission. We're going to take you to get into that residential drug treatment program in Fresno where we contract with. And we're going to make sure you have these things in place that day, whatever it takes, whatever time that they're released. And then the post-release is we're going to provide intensive supervision. We're going to monitor them to make sure that they're taking their medication. We're going to make sure that they're coming in for their mental health services. And we're going to look at, can you be enrolled in behavioral health court? And behavioral health court then is they come very frequently, a couple times a month, meet with the judge. They're given a lot of kudos when they're doing good. They can give sanctions. They can even be flash incarceration when they're not following through. Not that they have symptoms due to their psychiatric illness. They're not taking their medication. They're not coming to see us. They're not going to probation. Oh, boy. We'll just kind of go right through this one. It's our flow chart. You have it, but it kind of give you an understanding. And now we've also contracted with an outside evaluator. That's part of the grant. Again, we were starting to do this. The grant came and paid for some things, and that's what they're going to look at, what our recidivism rate is, what the level of it, what the rate is to access community resources, and how well they're doing mentally once they have gone through the program. It costs, here's what our grant that we received. We received a 3-year grant for $869,000. That pays for a half-time person at probation. I think we erred there. We should have got a full-time, and maybe we'll work towards that. We purchased 10 dedicated beds at the rescue mission. We purchased some residential treatment for clients that are using substances and have a mental health condition. We're paying about $8,000 for an evaluator. And then we had to match these funds. And the matching funds come from the services we would already perform at behavioral health that we receive either through Medi-Cal or through other allocation, the funding that we get. And same thing with probation. These are clients that would have been seen from probation. They've just kind of upped the ante a little bit. Working to better. This is the reason we got this grant, is because of us working together. And then last, this is a slide that we passed out. We had this slide. We just got this. This is fresh information from last week. So we have 26 people that are now open to Majorca. Some of them are in custody. Some of them are getting ready to get released. Some of them are already released already. We've had 16 people that have been released. We have 16 out of the 26 that are getting ready to be released. 9 are actually back into our community. 8 of them have actually engaged with behavioral health services. 4 of them got into the drug court. 3 are living at the mission. 5 are leaving with the family, which is our best option. And then we are helping how we can support the family with intensive supervision and mental health services. We've had 1 person that reoffended, went back to custody, stabilized, and now he is back out, released again. We've had 2 people that have decompensated and were taken into the emergency room through a 5150. Both of them are still continuing to get intensive services, but they did not recidivize back into the jail. That's good. Quickly, I know you got lunch break. Thank you.
Any comment from the board?
Great job.
Yeah.
We got lucky getting dinner. Yes.
No. I am the mouthpiece right here. Let me tell you, there should be about 20 people standing behind me. This is a wide group of people doing it. I am just the mouthpiece, and I don't say that because I'm
Takes a
humble.
leader to get it done.
Yes, we have a great group working on this. We're really excited to see what we actually look like in a year from now, and how we can institutionalize this so it stays. The grant was icing on the cake. We're going to do it one way or the other.
Well, I just want to commend you. I mean, from the beginning when we went down to Fresno to look at the behavioral health court, and that was I really enjoyed that, and then see the progress, and then the presentation of Judge Blee, and thinking, I mean, he is absolutely excited about that program. Gives you guys all the credit, of course, for putting it all together, but it's really nice to see a judge that basically seeing a program that's actually going to work for Madera County. So. Any other public?
Yeah, it seems like the grant is icing on the cake, but we're going to pay for it somewhere else if we don't do it on this front end.
Exactly. Exactly right.
Only imagine if we start assigning, some counties have done this, if we start assigning costs to those 621 bookings, and if we take the costs out of it, just the congestion, just as who we want to really keep incarcerated, yeah.
Add it up.
Yeah, well, the goal isn't to lock up people. The goal is to get people to live in society as healthy citizens.
Well, the other thing, too, is we mentioned this morning, I mentioned about the, taxpayer. Right here, you're actually, even though we're spending money, you're saving the taxpayer money by keeping these guys. I mean, it's just amazing how it's a reverse thinking. And I didn't have that when I first started as county supervisor, but it's amazing, these programs, how you can actually save the community if they work right, taxpaying dollars. I really commend you, Dennis, on
well, if we looked at those
team.
bookings, if you said that cost us $2,000 a piece, that's $1.3 million right there.
Yeah,
and
exactly
$2,000, that would be a little bit skinny. If you talk about our whole judicial system in our county here.
I make a motion.
Can I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the resolution and join the national campaign stepping up to reduce the number of people in jail with mental illnesses.
Second by Max. Okay. Tom the first, and Max is the second. And can I have a vote, please?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Farinelli?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
And we will break for lunch till 1 o'clock. Thank you.
I think that was a little wordy of stepping up to reduce that. Not very catchy.
You guys have to run.
Eight D's yours, right? So 8D's yours? 8D. Okay, let's get going again. Well, back in session, 104. Would you please read 8D, please?
8D, County Administration Department, Human Resources Operations Division. First hearing to consider an ordinance amending Chapter 2.97 of Title II of the Madera County Code to reflect the new titles of the Department and Department Head Information Technology. Waive the reading and set the second hearing for January 26, 2016.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the Board. Adrienne Caleb reporting this morning on behalf of Administration and Human Resources. The item that's before you is actually part of a progressive step to ensure that the county's efforts to maintain current in the ever-evolving world of IT are maintained within industry standards. And in May of 2015, the Board of Supervisors approved a plan to evaluate the current IT business model to determine the best structure for providing efficient service to all internal and external stakeholders. And so the item that's before you is to amend or adopt an amended ordinance to change the title of the Department of IT to the Office of Information Technology, as well as to change the title of the department head from the Director of Information Technology to the Chief Information Officer. And there's no fiscal impact associated with the recommended action, and I am open for any questions.
Anybody else?
I move to approve.
Don't mess around here, huh? Okay. I see all the public is just waiting to come up for this. Okay. Motion to approve.
Is that 8D and E?
Yes. We have a second. We have. What's that?
I had seconded that.
Okay, that's fine.
I guess we can do D and E.
Okay, vote on D, please.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Farinelli?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler away.
Okay.
Vote 4-1.
Read F, please.
8E, County Administration Department, Human Resources Operations Division. Discussion and consideration of approval to adopt the amended job specification for the Director of Information Technology, which includes the title amendment to Chief Information Officer.
Move to approve.
Second.
Call for the vote, please. Dave and Brett again. All right. Wants to go home.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Present.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Farinelli?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thanks for trusting us, Tom.
I'm like Fresno City.
Okay. 8G. F. I'm sorry, F. I'm sorry.
County Administration Department, Human Resources Operations Division. Discussion and consideration of approval to adopt the side letters of agreement with the clerical, professional, service, and technical bargaining units regarding implementation of the recommendations of the 2015 Class and Compensation Study effective July 1, 2016.
Good afternoon again. Adrienne Caleb reporting. This is an item that represents the last of the agreements with our represented bargaining units to implement the class and comp study. And these particular units that will go into effect July 1 of 2016. Open to any questions.
Anything from the public? Nobody from the public.
Move to approve.
Bring it back to board. Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
I got a question. You missed me.
Go ahead. Brett, you're on the line.
Yeah.
I just thought I was supposed to speak because I saw my name up there.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah. I was trying to prompt you.
It'll be fixed next time, I've been promised.
Yeah. I got here. You know, I was looking at those contracts. Two of them are the same. One's got that extra paragraph. But I can't read none of the names.
Oh,
so
okay.
can we, on contracts from now on, County Council, I want to do this, because I read some of these, and there's no, I don't know who signed them. And I'd like to have their name printed underneath them all.
We can do that.
How much, any of them we do, because
Sometime we listen.
it's just, I get these, and then I'm thinking, who signed this thing? I want to know if I want to like them or not like them, you know? So, and they got a big scribble. The one is, the second name is just a W, and I said, well, it ain't me, so. But if we could do that from now on?
Not a problem. We can do that for you.
I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Other than that, I'll vote yes.
Okay, we have we do have a first and a second. Brett and David, a second. Can we have a vote, please?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Farinelli?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Let's see if I can get back on track now. 8F, please. G.
G.
What's going on? G. I'm sorry. G.
A, B, C.
Public Works Department Administration Division.
Education. Okay.
Discussion and consideration of approval to grant Philip Toller with a temporary 15% additional compensation for performing additional duties relating to the position of Special Districts Road Manager effective January 1, 2016.
What? Chairman, members of the board, Norman Allender here. Just a quick presentation. Essentially, Mr. Toller is filling two positions. He used to be the roads district manager, and then upon when Steve Norman left, he assumed both positions. This is something actually Johannes had been working on. This is a temporary solution until we get permanent staff and permanent solutions in place. And I just want to say about Phil, just in general, I know most of you know him pretty well, and of course he's here if you guys want to really grill him a little bit. But he's the kind of guy when you talk about succession planning, is important to me. This is the kind of guy we're looking at for the future. And the other thing is, when you ask Phil for something, he gives you not only what you want, he gives you more than what you want. And you really like that in an employee, and he knows actually how to write a paragraph, too, which is hard to find. So I recommend support of this. This is, again, something Johannes had been working on, and this will be a great thing to keep our momentum going, and then we can have a permanent solution in the future. Thank you.
I agree with that 100%. Everything he's done for my constituents up there, they think he's God or something. I hate to say that, but he does such a good job, and that's what. Yep.
Any questions?
25%.
Before we go with the motion, any other questions? Anybody want to drill Phil? Get up here, Phil.
Drill Phil, huh? Is that? I'm going to make a shirt of that.
Anybody second that motion?
I'll second it, despite Johannes working on it.
Tom first, Max second. Can I have a vote, please?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez? Yes. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Farinelli?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
I thought you were voting no the way you hesitated.
Keep working hard for us, Phil.
Now go back to work.
Public Works.
Yep.
Public Works Department, Municipal Services Division. Discussion and direction to staff to proceed with a governance model of 2 groundwater sustainability agencies and a single groundwater sustainability plan.
Chairman, members of the board, Norman Allender here with Ahmad Akayat. He is in this role, serving as county engineer. And then Matt Schreiber is here, our deputy planning director. Doug Nelson, who's our land use advisor and counsel, who's been helping us out a little bit on this. And, of course, Jared Carter, deputy public works director. So we have a short presentation. Thank you, staff, their clerk staff, for putting that up. To go through this fairly quickly, you've seen a lot of this before. There's a minor amount of review. This is a very, very important issue. That's why we want to sit and have a little bit of a discussion. And I did speak with Carl on the way out, and he said he's not coming back after lunch, but he wanted he wanted to be here, but he couldn't make it back. So here's some of your just key time frames.
Have you got any copies of them?
Yes, there's copies. Actually, that's just a cover slide. It's just a cover slide.
We've seen it multiple times.
Yeah. So here's your key time frames on the surface, for Sigma. So these are your key time frames. And heretofore, we have had a really good cooperation countywide. We're in such a basin that by June 30th of 2017, we have to create our GSA or GSAs, which means that here we are in January of 2016, some 18 months ahead of the deadline. What's good about that, as we talk about the process, is, and as many of you know, there's a formation committee this Thursday, is there's lots of moving parts to this, but being so far ahead of the curve is really something that helps us. By 2020, January 31st of 2020, we have to have our state-adopted GSP, or multiple coordinated GSPs, and we'll go into that. because an integrated plan is good, is better than a disintegrated plan, and we'll talk about that. And then, of course, the other key time frame is by January 31st, 2040 is when you actually have to achieve. You have to do substantial progress along the way, but those are some of your key time frames. I put this there just for your own look. I'm not going to go through that. I know you guys would not want to hear all that, but this is the actual key, what they call groundwater legislation timeline and the different actions by local agencies and government agencies.
That has to be done. This is their...
Yes, it is. I mean, yes, this is something that we need to do. And I think that we've had this conversation with lots of us. If we don't do this, I think it would be highly irresponsible of us, obviously, to just ignore this. But I don't think anybody's proposing that. And our friends at the cities and all that. Yesterday I spoke with Dina at MID. Ahmad spoke with Jug Welch at Chowchilla Water District, and Supervisor Rodriguez was present when I spoke with Dave Merchant at the city. You know, we get with these folks, I think a lot of us are pretty close to being on the same page, but that's why we have this JPA to help work that out. This is the background of SGMA. Basically, you have this a comprehensive legislation. It's something we've talked about a lot in Rio Mesa, is extraction versus inflow. We talk about that pretty regularly on urban developments. Respects overlying and proprietary rights for the groundwater. That has a lot to do with, definitely, overlying rights has to do with agriculture. And recognizes and preserves the authority of city and counties to police power. So basically, it doesn't interfere with our land use powers. A bit of a background, the Groundwater Authority, 12/21/2014 was created. Below you can see the different members. This is key to the success of this. And the reason why I say that, and some of you have seen, in San Joaquin County, there was an article over the holidays where they had filed earlier in the year for GSAs, and then the county, without coordinating, filed to be a GSA as well. So they're not coordinating. I know some of you saw that. And I mean, this is really points out the fact that what this Groundwater Authority is really it's a formation committee. It's a forum for us to come together, discuss our issues, common differences, and work through that. And it's just so important to see how this is coming together and our timing's so good. These are your subbasins. We'll look a bit about the overlap and all that, and you can see the red county lines on there. Some of the overlap into the other districts per Bulletin 118 it's known at. We will already made submittals to make adjustments to that. And then we have the third one here, the Delta Mendota, that we believe is going to have its own GSA, GSP. But again, it's another part of those moving parts. If things change there, you know, we're ready to adapt to that or be back to the board with our suggestions. And I'll have those up. So basically on the background, we got to enter into our GSA by 6/30/2017. Basically, and that's where sort of the vehicle it is, and that will supplant the JPA and really be the place, I think it will. I'm just surmising that this will be the new agencies we work on. The GSP, 1/31/2020, as many of you know, we've already submitted in cooperation with our friends in the water districts for a $500,000 Prop 1 grant. And so that's going forward. And we have to achieve it by 2040, something we worked with Doug and Regina and Robert helped us out with that, Robert Jeffers. But the discussion of CEQA and how this relates, the plans themselves, and in fact, a bill introduced by someone named Assemblyman Bigelow introduced a bill last year exempting all GSPs from CEQA. Really good thing. It's a statutory exemption. What's good about that is that we don't have to worry about putting our plan together, people suing us under CEQA. There's find other ways to sue us if they don't like the plan. I'm sorry, yes.
Did that pass?
Yes, that is law, yeah. We were very concerned about that, and we spent a lot of time with Regina, and that's why Doug's here today, too. He worked on it. But it's only for the plan, not the implementation, which means that the plan could say we're going to have holes in the ground here and there for recharge, but when you go to put the hole in the ground and you commit the funding, that is then subject to CEQA. So project-based it will be. So if we're going to build basins or we're going to build a new coffer dam somewhere, the actions themselves are subject to CEQA, but the plan itself isn't, and that's a big thing. Because I can tell you that's where the fight would start, right? Because there's always the people who think you've done too much, or even worse, think you haven't done enough, right? And so that definitely keeps us.
Do CEQA on most upon basis?
Yes, there is. I can tell you that depending on the type of basin, Mr. Schreiber and I, who I'm your official CEQA person for the county. There are certain exemptions for basins. Yeah, an exemption is satisfying CEQA, right? An exemption is completely satisfies CEQA. So, yes. Many times we do lots of clearances on exemptions, yeah. We always got to look at it on a project by project, but in general, these have specific exemptions both in CEQA and SMARA as well, because sometimes the dirt is mined for projects,
Yeah.
which has smaller implications. So this is basically the background on that. These are the options, right? And as we get close to the end of this, an integrated option 1, which is a single plan implemented by one agency. That hasn't been the will of a lot of the folks involved. And option 2 which is what the recommendation is. Again, an integrated approach with multiple agencies under one plan. And the reason why the integrated approach is important, because if you do the disintegrated approach, which is multiple plans implemented by multiple agencies, you have to do what's called a single coordination agreement. So if you don't do an integrated plan, you do disintegrated plans, you have to write a plan to coordinate the disintegrated plans. Doesn't make sense at all from a planning perspective, right? Again, our recommendation is an integrated multiple GSAs under one GSP, as you see on there. That's in keeping with a lot of other folks. We're not 100%, I think, in agreement with everybody, but I think we're very, very close on this, and that's the purpose of this Groundwater Authority, to work out those details. Again, staff's recommended multiple GSAs under one plan. Why? It ensures the same assumptions. Again, Madera County has to be a part of all these, right? So from us to have these, we'll have to coordinate them at some level. So that's one of the reasons why it makes sense. Eliminates the need for MOU between the two subbasins. Again, you can't totally separate, and even if you try to write separate plans, they surrounding areas. So if we're trying to coordinate with Merced or Fresno, having some more integrated plan is good. More practical plan form to manage groundwater. Again, we have to be a part of all these. And the one I added at the end, it's just a more efficient and consistent way of planning, right? I mean, as your official planning advisor, I would recommend you take this integrated approach, which is, I think, the county engineer also, who did most of this work, by the way. Questions?
Yeah, Dave?
Yeah, I want to see us take this back before we pass it and work with CWD a little closer. I did receive a phone call from them and a letter, and also I know there's questions with MID as well. So we want to make sure we're really coordinating with them on the whole process and getting this done exactly like we need to. I don't have the opportunity to elaborate on what the concerns are because I just received a letter this morning, so I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Well, let me say, Mr. Chairman, again, Ahmad spoke with Doug Welch yesterday, and he can give you that. And I spoke with Dina yesterday as well, spoke with Carl Jansen this morning. I would, I guess, suggest to the board we are under a deadline. There's a meeting this Thursday, and we are the last group who hasn't passed an actual resolution. So if we were going to return it to staff, again, we have talked to them directly, so it's the will of the board.
Did you get the letter of this morning?
I'm sorry, did you? Go ahead, Ahmad.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Sorry.
I got it.
What this is basically our model or our preference to sit down and talk and negotiate and come up with a common GSP model.
There's no regulations
Yes.
or anything regarding the GSP.
Correct. This is not non-binding. This is just our in. This is how everybody on the table. Everybody brings their model, and then we can discuss all of that.
That would, if they were, I think, where there would be some consternation, Dave, would be if it was going into the integrated plan 1, which would be saying maybe we're just the singular GSA and we create the GSP. But this allows for everybody to be at the table, including MID and Chowchilla Water District. Is that?
That's accurate. And also, I speak with Doug Welch yesterday. He said, I mean, we're all a team, whether it's MID or Chowchilla Water District. We have to sit down and work it out, and we all support each other.
And I think I'd just add there that this is the preference of the county going in.
Correct.
We haven't decided, again, this Thursday is the next meeting, and it would be a platform for the members, you gentlemen who are the members, and also the staff supporting that. This is the platform by which we would begin the final determinations of what to do that. And the reason why I mentioned that is we're the only agency that hasn't given our preference. So, again, I'll leave it to the will of the board, but that would just want to follow up. Thank you.
I'd like to read this section here. CWD has had several meetings with representatives from Madera County and the City of Chowchilla in regards to how to approach implementation of SGMA in the Chowchilla groundwater subbasin. CWD has proposed that the boundary of the Chowchilla groundwater subbasin be modified to match the current boundary of the Chowchilla Water District. The remainder of the area in the Chowchilla groundwater subbasin that is inside Madera County would be transferred to the Madera groundwater subbasin. The City of Chowchilla has agreed to the proposed boundary modification. There are two main reasons for the boundary modification proposed by CWD. The first is that the area inside the Chowchilla subbasin within Madera County, but outside of CWD, primarily relies on groundwater, over 80% groundwater, as a source of water supply, while the area inside CWD primarily relies on surface water, over 70%, as a source of water supply. The landowners inside CWD have invested millions of dollars in infrastructure and water supply contracts, which supply over 70% of the water consumed within the boundaries of CWD. So in other words, there's a difference in how these are going to be able to be managed.
And we fully understand that. Like I said, I guess to repeat what I said earlier, we're not in 100% agreement. These boundary changes have been submitted. We're working on those. We're supportive of them. But to be quite frank, what we're going to deal with as we get closer to this and make more decisions, we're going to encounter this more and more of territorialism is really what we're talking about. And we have no issue with adjusting these boundaries and working on that, but that's the real part we have to work out, I think, Supervisor, is that we're getting down to the actual parts of this, and that's what the Groundwater Authority is the forum by which we could do it. So, yeah, I totally agree with what that letter says. Again, Ahmad was on the phone with Doug yesterday. I spoke with Dina yesterday, and they certainly await our point of view on the topic. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, according to what I ascertained this morning.
Well, let me just say this, too. I'll go back to that. Again, I'm asking the board to tell us what the preference of the county is, but this is in no means the end of it, right? There's several moving parts to this, like the Delta Mendota area, like the part you were talking about, like the boundary adjustments through the 118 process. Those are all still on the table. This doesn't close the door in any way or foreclose any kind of changes there, Supervisor.
This just creates the model by which we can start looking into these boundary issues and all
Yes.
those different things, right?
Right.
It just creates the model. And you think that option 2 is the most flexible model to do?
It's the most flexible, and I think it's the one that the other agencies are leaning towards. But I agree with Supervisor Rogers. All the detail haven't been worked out. I totally agree with his point, yes.
So this doesn't set anything in stone.
The guidelines we need done.
This is for discussion at the GSA?
Yes, sir, exactly, so that we can say this is the direction we're headed. Since we have enough time, I think they want to have this, you're more plugged in than I am. I think the discussion is supposed to happen this Thursday, at least the beginning part of it, and that if there are changes, we absolutely would be back here in front of the board to either brief them or to make the adjustments to this resolution. Yes, sir.
Okay. So it's a flexible resolution, you're saying?
Oh, yes, sir. It's only a recommendation, to tell you the truth. This is our recommendation. If we get in through the process, which I know you're a part of, and we find out that our recommendation needs to be adjusted to work with our partners, then I would actually recommend. I'm totally wanting to be flexible on this, absolutely.
Do you see how the recommendation conflicts with the request of CWD?
No, and in fact, I show you maps here, but this is not a part of the resolution to say this is the map it has to be. So, yes, these boundary cleanups and boundary adjustments, which in September came out, still are ongoing and still can be looked at. Yeah, but, again, I think we're not laying out boundaries here at all. We're just saying this is the governance model we'd like to move towards. Yes, sir.
Brett? With that, I'd be ready to make a motion.
Anybody from the public on this? Bring it back to the board.
I move that we take staff's recommendation of an integrated model with multiple GSAs towards one GSP.
Do I have a second? We have a second, Brett Frazier. A first Brett Frazier and second Max Rodriguez. Can I have a vote?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez? Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
No.
Supervisor Farinelli?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-1.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's go to, let's go to H8I, please.
Board of Directors, Special Districts, County Service Area, Number 3B, Parksdale Public Works Department, Capital Improvement Division. Discussion and consideration of approval of resolution of intent to annex Phase 3, lots 53 through 92 of map of tract number 264 to County Service Area Number 3B, CSA O3B, Parksdale Zone of Benefit B, Self-Help Subdivision, and set the public hearing for January 26, 2016 at 10 a.m.
Chairman, members of the board, Norman Allender, here with Jared Carter and Ahmad Okayat. This is, and normally this initial item to set the public hearing, sometimes they are on consent. This is in Parksdale, and this is a part of the self-help project, a new phase of it coming on board. The issue I wanted to make sure was an open session is that, as you know, the city of Madera is going to be pursuing annexation of that area, and if there was any clarifications about what the zone of benefit means towards that and all that. Other than that, this is really just making sure the services for the expansion, the new construction for what's known as the self-help project. Really great project where, you know, they have a block of homes and the families work together. Say it's a block of 5. Nobody can occupy their house until all 5 are done. So, you know, it's the sweat equity, right? You build your own house and all your neighbors help you build those houses. A lot of them have solar as a part of it as well. Really wonderful facility, but this is about making sure the services are set up through CSA 3. Thank you.
Any questions from the board? Matt?
I just want to make a comment on that project over there. This is the way it should be done. So, that project over there, to start as a first class. The people help build those homes, so I appreciate what they've done, and the homes are well kept, and a lot of them have that solar panels on them. So they're very proud of that project. You know, I think they're going to build some more homes there. That's what we're talking about, right? Yes. 35, 40 homes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's a good project.
I agree. I've been out there, and that's so neat.
Very nice. I mean, at least they have pride in their homes and stuff. That's what's made the program very good.
And then they do some of the work themselves. And in the process, they learn how to repair the homes in the future.
Any more from the board? Anything from the public? Bring it back to the board. Can I have a motion?
I have a motion to approve and set the public hearing for January 26, 2016 at 10 a.m.
Second.
Second? Second. Second. Okay. We'll have a motion by Max Rodriguez and a second by Tom Wheeler. Can I have a vote?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Farinelli?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay. Let's go to number 9, pending legislation. Do we have any pending legislation? Seeing none, move to item 10. Anybody would like to discuss basically any meetings that you've had together with any other supervisors? Love to hear it.
I just wanted to say something that I would like to see anybody we can sign up for this California Road Charge Pilot Program. I signed up for it because they need rural counties because all the cities are signing up, and that's going to, when they get this, they're going to pick 5,000 people to do this. They're going to take 15,000 in, and so we can get our fingers in that pot of money they're going to put out for roads. We just need to be part of this. So it's easy to do.
Is that little digital thing they're supposed to put on your car or something?
Yeah, it's going to be somehow you're going to do it. But if we don't do it, we're going to be the ones just sucking hind.
Okay.
Did you sign up?
Yeah. Anyway.
I didn't say it.
I know. Anything else, Tom?
Yeah, I'd like to read something.
Okay.
You, sir, cannot be tamed. I got this card. It's on my desk this morning. Thanks for fighting for all of us little guys.
To you or the rest of us, or what?
All of you.
All of us?
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. We're a team.
Thanks for fighting for all the little guys like us in the mountain area. I don't think people know all you do for us. Thanks also for helping my ARCO with the air quality people. I appreciate your caring enough to get involved. Happy holidays. I don't know. I just thought it was a neat card.
I'd just like to know what that lion's doing there.
You want me to tell you later?
Yeah.
I'll tell you now. I don't care.
Max, no. Brett? Dave?
Nope, nothing.
The only thing I have to report is the government center. It sounds crazy, but the luncheon with the supervisors. I was there, and just wanted to make sure that I reported that out. And that's it. I'll hand mine in. Thank you.
I was not there.
And then let's go back to closed session, correct?
There is one report that the board would like to make. Pursuant to a resolution adopted in 2015, the county CAO is due a longevity salary increase effective January of 2016. The board would like to recognize his decision to decline this increase. The board appreciates the reasons expressed for making his decision, which are summarized as being in the best interest of the county.
Oh, I need to turn my mic on so see that? You can actually hear people. So I really want to thank IT for working on that, or that we changed that system. It's actually fantastic, and I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
Now that everyone can hear us, you notice everyone left. They
Yeah.
don't like listening to us. Motion to adjourn.
Second.